Let's make sure the video ID is actually required, and then we'll move on to something else. I'll duplicate this and make sure that the video ID is passed to create the lesson. So I'll remove this, and episode number should be passed, and expect video ID to be in the session errors. Run this single test. Okay, it's missing. Let's fix that. Run our test again. Okay, now it's fixed. We might actually have to come back to this to make sure that we verify that it's a valid Vimeo ID or that the episode number is unique, but let's go ahead and move on, and then we're going to come back to this later on. Now, what do we need to do? We've successfully verified that we can actually create or store lessons in a very suitable way. What we're going to do now is head over to our create lesson.view and take it from there. Now, when we make that post request, we actually create it. We have the response data right here from the server. What we want to do is emit an event to tell the parent, oh, we got a successful response, do something about this. So we're going to be emitting an event called lesson created, and then the data we're passing in is the response.data. Remember, this is going to contain the lesson that was just created. Now, when we emit this event, we need to listen to this event from our parent, which is lessons.view. Therefore, we need to hook into the mounted hook, lifecycle hook, and what we're going to be doing here is subscribing to that event. So this dot on lesson created, which is the name of the event that is emitted from our child right here, same event, we'll pass a callback that will be executed, and we'll take in the lesson as a parameter. And what we want to do is actually update the data property. I noticed that we're actually passing this JSON right here, but it's fairly possible to actually pass it inline right here, which is going to give us a lot more flexibility. So I'm just going to JSON.pass this.default lessons right here, and I'm not going to need this computed property anymore. And right here, I'm going to make sure we use lessons in the loop. Okay, that's a little bit of a factor, and it's going to give us the flexibility of doing this. This.lessons.push lesson. Right? So when we listen to the lesson created event, let's push the new lesson into our lessons object. And Vue.js, as good as it is, it's going to automatically refresh the DOM. Okay? So one thing we want to do actually in our create lesson is to close the modal. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. And then the ID for that modal was create lesson. And we'll call the modal method and pass in a height parameter. Okay, so that's going to hide our modal for us. Let's go ahead and see this in action. Quick refresh, and we have no errors. If we actually try to check out our Vue lessons, we have the lessons object right here that is automatically cast or passed into our JavaScript array. And if we call on our create lesson, we'll just say have a new lesson, passing in any Vimeo ID, passing in any episode number, and then our description is going to be whatever. So let's save the lesson, and it looks like it closed the modal, but for some reason it didn't pick up on that event, right? So let's see what's going on. Emit lesson created, and we're actually listening to lesson created, and I think the error is coming because we actually have to specify that we are emitting to the parent of this child component. So this.parent.emit, so emit specifically to the parent, and the event should be lesson created. Let's try that one more time. Create lesson, paste in that description, Vimeo ID, playlist ID, create, and automatically we see that our DOM is refreshed. Okay, so that's pretty good. We're actually successfully pushing to this array.